Hello, party people. It's Sarah here of the Sisters Enchanted, and it's day 7 of Expedition to Soul. Round of applause. We made it to the end, as I knew we would, and I knew all of you could do. And yeah, so we're here, day 7. If you are randomly stumbling upon this, you found us in the last few days, you don't know why you're here, who I am, why is this person talking to me? I'm Sarah. I'm the founder of the Sisters Enchanted. And since 2016, I always say that, 2016, we have been bringing all kinds of magic online to over 100,000 people worldwide. And it's our belief that when we lean into our intuition, we conjure more joy, more everyday magic, we change our lives and the world around us. And it's our passion to bring that to more people. And we do that, one of the ways is here through Expedition to Soul. All right. Now in the comments today, I'm betting you're going to see Anna. She's my co-founder and real life sister. I already see Christina in here. She's part of Team Sisters Enchanted, and likely Jen will pop on at some point in time as well. She's our community manager. So hello to all of those people. And here we are for day 7. Now on day 7, we are going to recap right now what we've done, why we've done it. Busted out the flip chart and my shiny jacket for this. That's how excited I am about day 7. Okay, so on day 1 of Expedition to Soul, my flip chart's crooked. I'm kind of afraid to write on it in case it comes crashing down. But on day 1, we created our maps. We created our maps on day 1. Now, the reason that we create the maps, and even when you start Expedition to Soul, we have you go through the field guide, and there's all kinds of maps exercises. Now, you don't have to do them. So if you skipped the maps, that's totally fine. You're okay. But the reason that we have you do the maps and think on day 1 what it is that you want to do during Expedition to Soul is that you're sort of future visioning what you might be open to, future visioning yourself having accomplished something amazing, and also thinking about the roadblocks that you might hit along the way. Now, to set yourself up for success on any new adventure, on anything that's might be unknown, uncertain, like why am I doing this? What's going to be the result of this? Or even very real life stuff like getting a new job, taking on new responsibilities somewhere, all of that. When you see yourself on the end and all of the obstacles that you might have to get through to get there, it's easier to get through them because you've already seen them. You already know they're going to be there. It's not a surprise, right? So on day 1, we thought ahead, where are we going to be at the end of these 7 days? Now, 7 days is a really short period of time, but we can do this long term. We can do it over time, right? You can keep doing this over and over again, which is part of what I'm going to talk about here today. But day 1, we sort of set the intention for the 7 days. We thought, where might I be 7 days from now? What might come to fruition for me? What do I want to receive? How do I want to be different? How am I going to open up? Those sorts of things. And what possible obstacles we might encounter along the way. So we already saw them coming, right? Now, day 2 of Expedition to Soul. So we've set our maps. On day 2, we sort of think about our mini pilgrimage. And this is our little internal retreat or our little external retreat, the space we make for ourselves to reflect, to pause, to receive. And the reason that we need to do this so early on in Expedition to Soul, or whatever it is that you are working on bringing into your life, whatever those journeys are for you, big or small, is because doing something new, expanding your awareness, expanding your spirituality, getting a new job, buying a house, having a kid, getting married, clearing clutter of an elderly parent's house, whatever it is, all of this stuff, though, is hard. It's hard. There's a lot of fear there. It makes us see parts of ourselves that maybe we're not ready to see. We see parts of others that maybe make us react in ways we don't like ourselves to react in, all sorts of things. And so when we know in advance, what is my space to myself? What is the thing that I am going to do to reflect on my own? How is it that I'm going to make space to just hear what I need to hear? And that's why we create that mini pilgrimage and we think about it right there in the beginning. We don't wait until there's been some problem or some utter meltdown, or you're exhausted or burnt out, and then you're like, how do I fix this? How do I schedule in time for me? We set it up in the beginning. And that's also why we pack our quest packs, because for many of us, myself included, mom of a 3 and 6-year-old, I homeschool the 6-year-old, and also I am the head magic maker here at the Sisters Enchanted. My plate is very full. When I find 5 minutes to myself, or I can feel that tension bubbling, like I'm going to need some time to myself, I'm already prepared. I know what that looks like, and my quest pack is ready to go. So day one, we sort of set the intention. And even if we don't know exactly what that is, we set the intention to hear what our next intention maybe should be. We've already created a little retreat for ourselves, a mini pilgrimage. We have our quest pack all ready to go. So we can find these times to go within, to slow down, to just be. Because when we don't take time to just be, recharge our batteries, nothing else is going to work for us. All right, then on day 3, we make our declaration. So I have terrible handwriting, in case anybody's wondering. But on day 3, we make our declaration. And through that declaration, we are taking the time to put the stake in the ground and say, this is what I am creating for myself. And again, even if you don't know exactly what that is, even if for you, that is simply the declaration, that you are going to slow your mind down enough to figure out what your declaration is, to figure out what your intention is. For you, it could just be that. Maybe you know exactly what your intention is. Maybe you know exactly what it is you're trying to bring into being, and we make the declaration here. Now, some of the ideas and different things people shared with us were creating little rituals for themselves. We often see people who take a cleansing bath at this time, or make a body scrub and sort of release the old and make space for the new. So this is our physical declaration. What we're doing here with the declaration too is building momentum from the vision that we've set. We've now created space, hopefully, for when we're feeling like we need to retreat. And then we're making the declaration. And this declaration, it's like our call to the world that I am doing this, and nothing's going to stand in my way. Right? With day 4, my favorite day, we assemble the allies. And with allies, by allies in our Expedition to Soul here, we look at all of the versions of you, your past self, your future self, your present self, your imperfect self, your most perfect self, your higher self, your childhood self. All of these versions of you, we are bringing together to be your own best ally. Because at the end of the day, we should ideally be surrounded with people who love us and support us. But because each of us is our own person on this journey, we're all battling our own shadows, our own egos, we all have our own stuff going on. At the end of the day, you must rely on yourself to be your own best ally. You need to be the person who's going to do this declaration. You need to be the person who is going to say, I need my little mini pilgrimage right now. Where's my quest pack? What do I need? You have to be the one to create this space for yourself. And every part of you, that piece of you that did something in college that you're not proud of, that piece of you that, I don't know, that when you're a kid and you're holding these memories that you don't love to think about, your past life, if you believe in past lives, the future you 10 years from now, who's lived through things you can't even imagine. Who all would have thought 2 years ago that we lived through 2020, right? Yet we have. And that's your future self who's already been through so much, that has learned so much. That's part of you. That's part of who you are. It's part of your highest wisdom, your inner wisdom, your knowing. So day 4, we empower ourselves to be our own greatest ally through this adventure. Now, day 5, that's when we go into the cave. And on day 5, we talk about our moon signs. And we talk about our moon signs on day 5 because your moon in astrology, this is your inner self. It's your shadowy self. It can be your, well, not necessarily your shadowy self, but it's your inner self, your subconscious, how you react when you feel like you're under pressure. The moon does also represent the mother or a feminine nurturer in astrology often. And many of us have a lot of stories attached to our mothers, how we should be, how we were raised. We all have those in some way, shape, or form, or how we nurture others, our story and how we nurture others. And so when we come to day 5 and we reach this cave, if you're thinking of a grand adventure, right, a big journey, there's always this excitement. There's this excitement at the beginning. And then like here, creating the pilgrimage, making the maps, packing the bags, that's very exciting. Then we have to do the hard work of saying, I can do this. I'm going to do this. I don't need anybody to validate me. I've got this, right? And then we actually start to do it and we're like, oh my gosh, I need so much validation. This is really scary and I'm not ready to deal with this and I don't have time. And now I'm mad at everybody because I don't have time and no one's listening to me and no one has faith in me. And when we get to the cave, we have 2 options, and that's our moon sign coming out. We can either see through it and keep moving forward, right? Or we don't see through it and we end up back here at day 1, starting a new adventure. And we see this here in Expedition to Soul through our growth and our expansion, but we also see it in real life. I mean, think about a time when maybe you were going to declutter your house. You were like, this is it. This is the year I declutter. You make a plan, you schedule it in, you tell everybody about it. You say, I don't need any help. I'm going to do it myself, right? And then you go to do it and you're like, I can't get rid of my wedding dress. I can't get rid of my grandma's china that no one's used in 40 years. I can't get rid of these photos. I can't move this around. It's too much. It's overwhelming. And we go back to day 1 again. So this happens in our sort of spiritual growth sense, our personal development, which is what we did here in Expedition to Soul. But it also, this same thing happens in real life, and it happens to all of us. I can say that as a business owner, I see it with myself too, where I'm like, all right, we're going to do this thing. We make the plans, and I'm like, yes, I got this. I'm going to be awesome. And then I have to do it. And like, that seems really scary. And now I'm feeling imposter syndrome and like, I'm not good enough for this. And I'm completely overwhelmed and whatever. And then you go back to day 1 and you start again. So this happens for everybody. And this is why we do the moon signs, to really start to think about whether or not you know your moon sign. You might not know your moon sign. That's completely okay. But what you can do is start to consider for yourself, well, how do I react when I'm under pressure? How do I react emotionally? How do I come out at other people when I'm feeling attacked? How do I receive other people who are feeling attacked, right? And then like I'm receiving that. How does that all work together here on day 5? And this is probably in real life. This is, again, it's the cave. We get to the cave. Do we go through it or do we go back? It happens for all of us, and it's a process, which is why we do Expedition to Soul so often, because it is a process. So we get to day 6, and on day 6, we create our talisman. Now, whether or not you make it through the cave, we'll assume we go through the cave here. Now, we've gone through the cave, we faced ourselves, we still have to do the actual thing. Like the work still has to be done to create into being whatever it is that we want to create into being. And that's where the talisman day comes in handy, because we know, and many of you here, you probably own some kind of oracle card deck or tarot card deck or a crystal or incense or some spiritual tool of choice, candles, whatever it is for you. You probably have something or have seen somebody share it at the very least. And that's where all of this comes in handy. I think that a misconception that I often see, people will ask us for, like, what's your recommendation for a crystal for abundance, or like a ritual for healing my past or something like that. And that's all well and good, but that's all the way down here at day 6. You have to do all this other stuff first in order for this to be really helpful. You have to walk through the cave. You've got to trust in yourself. You've got to know that you're ready to do it and have the space to do it. Otherwise, you're trying to build a house on dirt if you skip right to doing all of these cool things that we love to do with our tools. And the purpose of this magical talisman is to sort of help you to focus your energy on the task ahead, to help remind you that I did this hard work. I did this hard work, and there's more to come, and I've got this because I've already proven I can do it. And this is helping me focus my energy on that. It's my own support that I've created for myself. And that's where we create these magical tools. So if you've read about crystal grids, you've seen them online, different kinds of cleansing rituals, whatever it is, that is your focus of your energy. That's not going to create that energy for you. It's going to help you harness your energy and focus it in. So we've done all this work. Day 6, we create our talisman. And then we get down here to day 7, and we are in our reflection mode. So what happened? What happened? Where did you get stuck? Did you get stuck somewhere? Maybe life just got in the way and you just didn't have time to go through the whole thing. And that's okay, because you can do it again at a later date, right? You don't have to do it all right now. And in real life, this is a process. I mean, if you're going through the process of trying to get your financial situation under order, right? Maybe you have a lot of money healing to do around money stories and debt and things like that. You know, this part alone up here, day 1 and day 2, that could take months in and of itself to create a path forward, to make sure that you make a habit of a weekly money session with yourself, like creating your little pilgrimage where you go through all your finances. That could take months to dig into that. And then realizing, you know what, I've got this. Everybody knows it. I'm going to have a boundary around it and be my own best ally. That's another process. And then when the emotions hit hard and you backslide, or you realize a money story that you've inherited from your family or something about yourself you had never realized before, you know, here we go. This all takes time. So we put this into 7 days with the invitation to simply see what comes up for you. And on day 7, to see what it is that you learned about yourself. So maybe often I see from people that they've learned that they are their own best allies and they just forgot that. Or for some people, they remember, oh my gosh, I am so intuitive and I've forgotten it because life got in the way. Or I am so creative. Some people with the day 3 declaration and the day 6 talisman creation, sometimes people are like, oh, I'd forgotten that I love to do this, or that I had all these supplies to make this thing, or that I actually love taking baths. I haven't taken one in years. And so on day 7 here, for some people, it might be just a remembering something about themselves. For others, it might be that you had the best of intentions, you got everything set up, and for some reason, just never took the time to do it. And now here you are watching this and you're thinking like, oh, I'm such a failure. You're not a failure. What you might have realized is that for you, there's a boundary around time for yourself, or even taking more time with the maps and the mini pilgrimage to figure out what that looks like. I know for me, the transition into motherhood, I became self-employed 2 months before I had my first kid, and have had that business, and then grew the Sisters Enchanted and a second baby all at the same time. So now my kids are 6.5 and 3.5, and it's just now that I'm really sort of emerging in some areas and remembering, you know, how is it that I create time just for me and hold a boundary around it when I'm pulled in so many different directions every day, and they're often urgent directions, right? And so it's not something always that you can just do in 7 days. I certainly would find it challenging to figure out boundaries around time for myself in 7 days. I'd probably get to the cave there and go right back to day 1, because it takes time. Some things take time. But you might realize something about yourself. Again, if you didn't take the time, you might realize, oh my goodness, I can see here that for me, I've seen that I need to practice boundaries around time, right? Or one day we suggest that you dance it out. And I think this time we only had 1 or 2 people share their dancing video. Sometimes we have some more, but maybe you remembered, I love to dance. And I felt so jazzed and energized on that day. And that's what you're realizing. I need more of that in my life. I realized I needed more dancing in my life after every fall, we hold an online event for our Enchanted Journey community. And it's our membership community. And we had a virtual witches ball this year. We hired a DJ and everything. And for an hour, we all danced virtually on Zoom with this really cool DJ playing music. And they had like horn instruments, and it was great. And after that event, I was like, I need more dance parties in 2021. How do we have more dance parties? And so I saw that and how jazzed and energized I was, right? And I could figure out how to create more of that in my life. So for you, whatever it was, you might have come in with a clear, no, I'm going to actually do something over these 7 days. And maybe you just realized something that came up for you over the 7 days, and you can create more of that in your life. Now, I did want to mention a little bit about, because this always comes up in discussion, a little bit about meditation and a little bit about journaling for those of you who that might feel challenging. And I do see somebody asking about that community Enchanted Journey. We can get you a link, but our Holistic Witchery program is open for enrollment, and you get a year of the membership for free with Holistic Witchery. So you'll want to check on that. I'm sure somebody here, one of Team TSE, will link it up. So meditation, one thing that I often hear, feedback we receive is that meditation is really hard, or somebody's not good at it, or like they did it and they didn't see anything. And I just want to point out, because we did have 2 meditations during this week, that meditation works differently for different people. So not everybody is going to sit down and simply calm their mind and receive all of this divine guidance, right? Or like visualize whatever it is that you're being walked through. It's not going to work like that for everybody. I know that personally, I'm very active. My mind goes 100 miles per hour, and it is challenging for me to sit down and meditate in the traditional sense. So if you're one of those people who's like, well, I just don't understand meditation, it doesn't work for me, I didn't see anything in the visualizations, I'm broken in some way, spiritually broken, you are not. Meditation does take a lot of practice, but also for some people, it just works differently. So for me, I will listen to a guided visualization, sort of like what I provided for days 4 and 6 of Expedition to Soul. I'll listen to that kind of thing while I'm in the shower, or while I'm cleaning up the house with my earbuds in or something, or when I'm on a walk. And then I try to just let it sit and kind of absorb into me in my mind, and wait and see what pops up for me later. Often, I'll listen to something like that in the shower, like I said, or on a walk, and then it might be hours later or a day later, but I'll have this grand idea, this big epiphany of like, oh my goodness, this is the way this works for me, or this is what it will be, or I'll have a dream. And it comes to me in a different way. For other people, it might be through energetic feeling in your body. So not everybody is just going to sit down, do a guided meditation, and see all of these things. I see this a lot when we talk about different guides and spiritual guides and things like that, where folks want to sit down and just see like some grand thing, and it doesn't always work that way. Often it's just an invitation for you to open up to something else. So that's what I would encourage you to do, and look at meditation in that way. If in guided visualizations in particular, if you feel like they're challenging for you, is look at it as an invitation to receive for you when the time is right. So similar to that is journaling. I hear this a lot about journaling, and I love a good journal prompt. So I'm a certified English teacher, I have my master's in education, and I love to give a good writing prompt, don't get me wrong. But not everybody likes to write. And some people get stumped and it feels challenging, or some folks who physically find it challenging and difficult to write, or can't write for some reason, and that can be really hard. Hey, Valinda, who just chimed in, she is a Kundalini yoga expert. She has her degree, I believe, is in art therapy with dance movement, if I'm not mistaken. And Valinda, I hope I'm not wrong, is contributing a class on moon centers, I think, for us coming up with Holistic Witchery, the class I mentioned before. Melinda's she's going to provide some coolness for us. So that's a little sneak peek into that. I hadn't even mentioned that to anybody yet, besides some of the inner members of Team TSE who know that. So hopefully I'm not wrong. And Belinda did actually agree to that. She says, yes, I am. Dance movement therapy. And Belinda's awesome. Many of you who've been with us for a while definitely know Belinda from our programs and community. Anyway, I digress. She definitely would be one to speak about meditation. And journaling is where I was getting to. A lot of people will hit a wall with journaling, right? But it's similar as how I explained a visualization, a guided visualization. You can read a journal prompt and then go for a walk while thinking about it. You can read the prompt and then take a shower. You can read a journal prompt and then go about your day and read it again later and voice record yourself a little note about it, or just take down some keywords, or read the prompt. And if you're a knitter, sit down and knit thinking on the prompt. You can collage or paint your house if that's what you're doing, whatever it is. Not everybody likes to journal. And I think journaling gets a bad rap because everybody talks about it. People are like, here's a journal prompt for the new moon. And, I get this feedback that who has time for another journal prompt, and how long are you supposed to write? And how do you know you wrote enough? And when am I done? And if it feels prohibitive to you, don't do that. Just read it and be with it and see what happens for you. Not everything has to be this grand 5-hour-long process where you set up a crystal grid, pull 100 tarot cards, dim the lights, light all the candles. You can simply receive the thing that you're working with, go about your day, and see how it pops up for you. I'm very passionate about making all of these tools accessible to people. So I often see, if you scroll through Instagram, it's like, how do people have time in their day to set up all of this? And you don't need to do all of that to remember who you are, to step into your spiritual and magical self, the version of you that can manifest your greatest dreams and create the future vision that you want for yourself. You can do that simply by looking into things like this, like where am I right now? How am I reacting right now? How do I proceed forward? And taking in bits and information over time while you can, right? So I'm going to check through the comments here. Yes, Belinda is amazing. Belinda is, and Rachel says, love dancing and belly dance. Y'all should sign up for Holistic Witchery so that you're in for next year's Halloween event, because we had a belly dance teacher. We had Belinda doing yoga. We had all kinds of classes for 2 days, and we had our witches ball, and it was so good. I rode a high after it for like 3 days and then crashed hard because it was so good. So yeah, I'm seeing here that somebody who had a hard time with journaling and decided 3 years ago to write weekly letters to a friend, and now you do those and turn those into journal pages. I love that. I don't know where I shared it. I think in one of our programs, or we do so many things, I forget where stuff happens sometimes, but I have a group of friends who are also business owners, and we will write to ourselves. Like I'll write a note card to myself that says, hey, Sarah, great job. You're trying so hard. You're doing great. Make sure you take some time for yourself. Or I'm so proud of you, Sarah. We'll write these little notes to ourselves, and then we send them to each other to just mail back to ourselves at a random date. Does that make sense? So like I would write the note to me, like, hi, Sarah, I love you so much. You've got this. And then I'll send it to my friend who will just hold on to it. It's pre-stamped, addressed. And then when she, on a whim, when she thinks of me, we'll pop it in the mail, and then I'll get my letter to myself randomly. And it's really a fun thing to do. So if you have any friends who you can coordinate that with, I totally recommend it, because it's a little weird the first time that you get a letter from your own self in the mail. You're like, what is this? Who is this stalker person that's pretending to be me and mailing me things in my exact handwriting? And then you remember, oh, I wrote this to myself. But it's really great. And I have a couple of them just sitting around, like notes to myself. And it's always, you're doing a great job. I'm so proud of you. You're working so hard. Make sure you rest. All of that kind of stuff. So totally do it. Anyway, so whatever your journey looks like for you, it can be different for everybody. And the way you go about it can be different. You don't have to do the meditation. You don't have to do the visualization. You don't have to do anything, right? You just got to do what works for you. I see somebody, the software I use to do this doesn't tell me everybody's name, only some people's. And someone's telling me that my blazer is fire. And I gotta say, it's pretty fun. I had to go pick something up for curbside pickup before this, and I was in the car for like 20 minutes, and so I had to go in to get it because they weren't coming out. And here I am in my tarot shirt, my card slinger shirt. Anna drew this actually, and I had on my snow boots all untied, just like shoved on, in my sparkly blazer. And my mask, and I'm standing there like, if I'm not a witch, I don't know who is. Anyway, thank you for that compliment. Anyway. It's my sister saying that. Oh, thank you. All right, so Expedition to Soul. That's it. That's day 7. Now, I want to tell you that we do these just about every quarter. It might change a little in 2021, but Expedition to Soul is not going anywhere. So if you are registered, be sure to keep your eyes peeled for our emails, because you'll know when we're doing it again. You can do it again over and over and over again. We do have the free shadow work webinar coming up. I'm doing that 3 times in the next week. The first time is tomorrow night, and then I think on Sunday and again on Tuesday. And the shadow work webinar, I gotta tell you, it's a good one. And if you felt like day 5 was coming at you, you wanna come to the shadow work class. And I love teaching it. This will be like my 15th time teaching it this year. And come check that out. What Francis is saying, I have about a dozen really cool journals, all empty. I have this phobia of spoiling them. How do I get over this? I don't have a tip for that, Francis, because I do the same thing. And I eventually actually stopped buying journals. And bad me, I don't have one here with me. But let me, hold on one second. You just stay right there. Coming right back. I stopped buying journals. People buy them for me for gifts all the time though. And we have this lunar year printable thing. And I actually just keep all of my journaling in here now, because I write like my intuition stuff and all my new moon, full moon stuff. And so I stopped buying journals and I do everything in my lunar year notebook. And yeah, because I was the same way. And then when I stopped buying them, realized I wasn't using them. Now my kid just gets them and she mucks them all up with, no, it's not mucked up. They're beautiful. She takes her crayons and she writes me notes. Christina says, maybe try to reward yourself in another way or make another to replace the one you used spoiled. Yeah, just get in there and start writing in it for sure. All right. Krista says, my thing is I don't want people knowing what I feel. I can relate to, what did I just do? Touch screens coming for me. I can relate to that. I often, when I'm feeling particularly hurt, I want to put on a strong front, right? And part of my shadow growth over the last 3 years has really been getting past that, and I have learned to apologize for myself over the past few years and really learned to speak up and say clearly what emotions I'm feeling, when and why. It's been challenging though, so you're not alone. One thing I've learned over 4.5 years, closer to 5 years of doing this, and I'm not kidding, over 130,000 people at this point have signed up for our different free classes. We've had upwards, we had 4,000 people this year alone sign up for our tarot class, and another upwards of 500 in Holistic Witchery. 1,000 have come through Enchanted Journey. I've met a lot of women on the internet, and I will say that there's somebody who can relate to you. No matter what it is that you're experiencing, there's somebody else out there who gets it. Promise you that. So when you start to think, I don't know anybody like me, I'm feeling alone, nobody gets me, close your eyes for a second and just come back to this collective Sisters Enchanted energy, because there is somebody who has been there and somebody who can relate and somebody who's walked your path. I promise you that. Promise you. We get a lot of emails. We talk to a lot of people. I promise you somebody's walked your shoes. Let's see here. Yeah, we don't have a shop site. Unfortunately, we are not good at keeping up with shipping, is something that we have learned over time. Someone says, sometimes you do have to keep your magic to yourself. That's okay too. Trust your instincts. Yeah, you don't have to share with anybody if you don't want to, that's for sure. And then when you're ready, you will, you will. All right, my friends. Well, that is it for Expedition to Soul. I want to keep talking all day long, but I will just start rambling about nothing of consequence at some point, which I do enough of. And yeah, I hope y'all had a great Yule. And let's see, sign up for the Shadow Work class. And we also have a really cool Creating a Magical 2021 video on our blog if you go over there, if you want to do a little planning for the year ahead. And if you're interested, be sure to check out Holistic Witchery. It's so good, and I can't even say how good it is. And our moon unit starts January 4th, and Belinda is doing a practice with us. We have monthly energy medicine taught by our friend Carol, and we have a new bonus coming soon that's not even listed on the info page. Our friend Tracy She's a psychic medium, and she is providing a bonus mediumship class for us that's in the works right now. So much goodness comes with holistic witchery. It's not even, it's actually like, it's kind of ridiculous how much we put in there. It's so good. Warmth and Witchery, that ended. We did that just a few days ago, like last month in November. But if you're interested in watching it all on replay, I'm sure we can get you the link for that. So if you're looking for that, you can email in, and I'm sure that link is still active as far as I know. I didn't take it down, and I'm like 90% sure that our tech guy did not take it down on his own. He doesn't usually do those things unless I specifically ask. So I'm sure somebody can help you out with that. And someone is in the comments linking up the shadow class, so be sure to sign up for that too. That's totally free, and it's really good. It's really, really, really good. All right, everyone. And, keep hanging out in the Expedition to Soul group. If you're in there, the Facebook group, we're happy to have you. And onward, enchanted sisters, to the end of the year. And I'll see some of you in the Shadow Work class, and hopefully in Holistic Witchery, and for the next round of Expedition to Soul for sure. Expedition to Soul for life. All right, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.